Pathé.
Did I say Pathé? I thought I said Pathé.
Oh, maybe you did.
I did. Hello, everyone. I'm Felipe.
And I'm Lillian.
And we are the Postmodern family.
We are Americans living in the UK, reacting to Great Britain.
We ironically make 5 videos a week, so hit that subscribe button now. In this video, we're reacting to a clip from British Pathé in which they show us some newsreels through the ages for the period between the end of July and the start of August. Okay, so we've once before done a British Pathé, and I really like the channel. It's not comedy, but it's news.
Historical.
It's historical, yes.
You understand Morse code?
The ocean front at Miami Beach, Florida, USA. Unique for reasons that are quite obvious. Modern America, the dream and the reality, all in one place.
Look at that.
Hitler now has the army behind him. As the leader of the strongest party, he is called to Berlin by Hindenburg and asked to take office as Chancellor. But he isn't satisfied. He wants absolute power.
The most overwhelming and touching reactions.
It's been a tremendous boost. And just a mass of smiling faces.
99 Pro. Good liftoff. Automatic.
New York, 100,000 parade in great protest against Hitler's treatment of the Jews in Germany.
Of Raul Castro, Fidel had said, "If you think I'm radical, wait till you see my little brother."
La policía detiene a un contrarrevolucionario disfrazado de policía militar.
The completion of these new transcontinental bombers, capable of carrying 44-ton blockbusters, means yet another step forward in the United States policy of armed preparedness.
The pipes are calling from glen to glen and down the mountainside.
Is that it?
That's it.
All right.
So,
Interesting.
firstly, what do you recall ever being taught, if you were taught, of any of those situations?
Yeah, I've learned about all of them.
So you were taught about Northern Ireland in high school? Or in school? I wasn't
not
taught.
in school. I learned about that here.
Yeah.
Since moving here.
Let's talk just up to high school.
Okay.
So you weren't taught in Northern Ireland, nor was I.
Okay.
I wasn't taught about the bombers in 1946. I wasn't taught specifically when Hitler became chancellor or what that meant.
Yeah. I didn't learn anything about Castro.
Castro, I wasn't taught either. I mean, when he handed power over to his brother, I was in graduate school. I guess you...
What is... Actually, I don't know much about... What is that significance?
The significance is that Castro comes to power on leading a communist revolution, and commies are meant to be let's say... What's the word for when you have a family... passing on to another one? It's usually associated with corruption.
Like
it's usually a
monopoly, monarchy.
No. Anyway, the commentators would tell me, but it's when, let's say you're a manager and then you hire your son and then you make him your heir, and it's meant to be a meritocracy, but you've not made it a meritocracy.
Okay.
I forget the term, but it was very controversial for him to name his little brother.
Oh, I see.
Because it was like, well, this was a communist revolution. What happened? It was never a democracy.
Yeah.
It was, you're supposed to hand it off as a communist to the next party chairman or whoever. But then also, the speculation was that he was more of a free market, freedom person. Even though in the clip it says, Castro says, you thought I was bad, wait until you meet my little brother.
Mm-hmm.
But the little brother was a bit lighter.
Mm-hmm.
He carried on the status quo, but started to release a little bit. But there was a big hope in Cuba and South Florida that this would be a transformation.
Mm.
It didn't turn out that way. It sort of kept the status quo. So I learned about the Bay of Pigs, but I didn't learn about Castro's revolution. Did you? How it came to power? I mean, it was a big deal in Miami, where I grew up.
Mm-hmm.
So Castro was always on the lips of people in South Florida.
Mm.
But it wasn't taught in the schools. What else was there? Let's just...
The U.S. income tax.
Miami being incorporated. I vaguely remember that being one line because we're in Florida. So we taught Florida history. So that's when it's made a city. I grew up in Miami.
What was it before?
Not city, like a village or just a patch of land where people lived, a town. I don't know what the...
I didn't realize that was like a big deal. That Miami was made into a city.
Yeah. Hitler becomes chancellor 100 years ago. Prince Charles...
Yeah, I knew that because everyone followed Princess
I know,
Diana.
but that wasn't taught in the school. That was just in the media.
Yeah.
And what was your impression of that when you were taught that? How was it taught to you?
I wasn't taught it. I just heard of it.
When you heard of it, how did they speak of it?
I don't know.
Like just a celeb
I
thing?
wasn't. Yeah, it was just a celebrity thing, and I just thought that she was young and beautiful. So
you did.
Good on her.
And did you think he was like ugly?
Yeah, I mean, he's not a looker.
Still isn't. 50 years lunar. So we learned that.
I remember this. Yeah.
We learned about that, and even then there were students saying, "But did it really happen? Was it in a Hollywood studio?"
Yeah, that's true.
I wonder what our commentators think. The plan for the genocide of the Jews, I didn't learn to that level of detail, like what date that plan was submitted.
How does that's something where you think, how does something like that happen, right? How does...
It's a slow, it doesn't happen overnight.
Mm-hmm.
It's first, let's say they can't vote.
But what's the root? Is it that they fear the Jews?
No, I think if I'm by no means an expert and the commentators can correct me, but the way I've been told is World War I happens. The Germans have been building up an industrial complex for 50, 60 years. They're leaders in industry.
Mm-hmm.
They decide they're going to have some more land.
Mm-hmm.
They lose, and they have severe penalties for that loss. They owe a lot of money. They have to pay every year.
Mm-hmm.
They're not allowed to arm, etc. So the people of Germany are a defeated people, and Hitler comes in. It doesn't have to be this way.
Mm-hmm.
You're oppressed. We are victims by the West, by the Western powers.
Okay.
And the people who lead that oppression are the Jews. The bankers. They control the media. They control the finances. They introduced communism. And
he ties it somehow to the religion?
No, not to the religion.
How does he then determine that women and children are that they have to get rid of them?
It's a people, an ethnic people.
But the women and children don't own the banks.
You don't understand total war then. Total war, in biblical proportions, is you eradicate the people.
Mm-hmm.
You don't let them procreate. You don't let a single generation succeed. You want to wipe them out. That's why it was called the final solution.
Oh.
It was the final solution to eradicate the Jewish people.
Mm-hmm.
So you wouldn't go for just the men. That's silly.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to destroy people, you go for all of them.
But how did they think that all of them are guilty or are causing this problem?
That's too simplistic. You're saying, are the children the bankers? The men clearly are the bankers, but if you leave the children and the women, they're going to breed more of the same type of people.
But that type automatically comes from their race?
Yeah, it's a race.
I just don't get that.
It's you have to remember that this was around the time of eugenics.
Mm-hmm.
Eugenics being the theory that your genes drive your culture. and your behaviors.
Mm-hmm.
That culture is in the blood, not learned. So on the back of eugenics, where abortion comes from, abortion directed at African Americans, etc., Hitler instruments, let's say, weaponizes eugenics and says, look, these are a people that breed this sort of people. They breed exploiters. They breed oppressors. They breed sleazy, lewd, money-grubbing animals. So we have to stop the immediate problem, kill the bankers, but we have to kill these people because these people create monsters, rats.
So how did people come to believe him? I just don't see how that can be. How can you convince someone? Is it because they don't know anybody personally and it's just like the story?
You're approaching it at this space like out of the blue, someone takes a podium on a press conference and says, hey guys, the Jews are monsters. It doesn't work that way. It's a slow, gradual, and then a lot of it happened. The actual genocide, people want the average German seemed to have just looked the other way. They weren't bought in 100%, but they were permissive. You have to remember that the broad general public are just followers,
right?
So they don't have to be persuaded, and they don't have to believe.
Like people say that the way that the government and the media have currently turned against the anti-vaxxers, the unvaccinated, that it's sounding a little bit like the beginning of this.
Yeah, it's a slow, gradual thing. It's like, let's speak out against them first.
Creating a people group.
Yeah.
But then, I mean, it's not tied to race or anything.
No, it's tied to a decision. But it's very similar. So a lot of commentators have identified the steps towards mass persecution. And one of the first steps is to paint them as evil. And so that has been happening because the unvaxxed and the unmasked are being painted as uncaring for their fellow man. And now the voices on the media are saying we should let them die or we should deny them care. So the crescendo is building that actually these people are evil. Then the next step is they deserve to be treated badly. And then the next step is they will be treated badly. So it's sort of this escalation. And so that's what happened to the Jews. Is initially they're evil.
So is it possible that people don't recognize that because they don't know history, or they?
Yeah, they're just trying to turn a blind eye. They're just trying to get on with their life. They hate this situation, but they think it's going to pass. It's this sort of self-imposed fog so that you can get through it.
I mean, we recently learned that in New York City, you're not allowed to go into restaurants and pubs unless you're vaccinated. Yeah. That's some sort of law.
Yeah. Well, the same in France.
It just sounds crazy to base it all on this one vaccination. What if someone they randomly picked I don't know, chicken pox? If you're not vaccinated from chicken pox, then you can't come in. I mean, there's so many different vaccinations. Why choose this one?
Yeah. And you see the echo chamber begins. Oh, how uncaring. Oh, you mustn't. I wear this for you. You know, I wear this mask for you. I'm taking this vaccine to protect you. So this whole dynamic of there are the good and then there are the evil. And then the voices of treat the evil badly. They deserve it. They should be excluded from society. They should not be given health care service.
How is it that people are so ready and willing to jump on board and say that they should be persecuted?
It's not ready like that. It just happens gradually. You think 2 years ago when the pandemic started, it was 2 weeks to flatten the curve. And then gradually that became lockdown to save the NHS. And then it became...
Do any of these people actually look at the numbers? 2 years ago, was it the same as now? Like, what's the rate of mortality? Is it the same? And if
the average person isn't looking at this critically. They just want to get on with their life. See, before the pandemic, they had a way of life. Okay? And they're just gritting their teeth and thinking, okay, this is going to be temporary, and I'm going to get back to the way of life. That's the mindset.
And then now these people are in the way of me getting back to my way of life.
Let's get rid of them. That's the extent that they'll think of it. I was like, oh yeah, they're an impediment to getting back to my way of life.
Oh yeah, people are super angry. On Facebook, I see that all the time. These effing anti-blah blah.
Yeah. I can't go on holiday. Okay.
Yeah,
I gotta
and
get
they're
furloughed.
saying if they just got the vaccination, and
this would be over.
Yeah, this would be over.
Yeah.
And they get so angry. They blame it on the anti-masks and anti-vax people.
So they have tunnel vision. They just want to get back to their comfortable life. And so long as the voices in the media and the voices in the comments are all saying things, oh, the unvaxxed are evil, oh, the unvaxxed should be denied, then it's just one small move from, okay, well, let's do something. And you're already seeing it in, I think, in Australia, where people are being quite badly oppressed. So massive fines for just being on the beach by yourself. Children being ushered into stadiums to get vaccinated from schools. So
really?
Yes. And then an individual who was tested positive, they came to his house and said, you need to go to a quarantine hotel.
Even though he's in his house?
Even though he's in his house. So he can't self-isolate in his house. They don't trust people to self-isolate, so they have to bring them to a quarantine hotel.
That sounds like a prison.
Yeah, it's a concentration camp for the positive, the COVID positive. So you already see it in Australia. And New Zealand, they're locking down because there was one case. We're living in a bubble wrap, safety-obsessed society, which is a society soaked in estrogen that doesn't want to take a single risk. And they'll destroy a country for the sake of minimizing risk. So there you have it. Thanks so much for watching this episode. We hope you enjoyed it. Leave us your favorite British Pathé episode in the comments.
Pathé.
Did I say Pathé? I thought I said Pathé.
Oh, maybe you did.
I did. Not Pathé. Bye.